Great, thank you, Mary. And welcome everyone to our Columbia College Weeks of Welcome Wellness Series, Wellness Wednesday. We know that folks are busy, and that's why we're recording these sessions, and they will all be posted on the websites of both Tamara Oxford, the Mental Health Coordinator, and myself, the Health Services Coordinator. And today we are going to be talking about the social environmental justice. We have the Amador County Tobacco Reduction Group and Stand Against Tobacco nonprofit. And I'm Laureen Campana, the Coordinator of Health Services at Columbia. And I'm going to hand it over to our panel and have them introduce themselves and go ahead and start the program. Thank you so much for being here. This is an incredibly important topic. And I'll just go ahead and say, Michelle, why don't you start?
I'm Michelle Opalenik with Tobacco Reduction of Amador County.
Hi, my name is Jose Montoya. I'm from the Sacramento area STAAND program.
Hi, I'm Tivoli Walker with the California Health Collaborative STAAND program.
Great. I'll let you take it from there.
So I'll start it out as we discussed earlier. My name's Jose, and I'd like to again welcome everybody for our discussion today. We hope to ponder your wisdom with some insights on the environmental harms created by big tobacco. We would like to also welcome your interest in some paid internships at the end. So hopefully you stick around for that. And first, I'd like to introduce a couple, we introduced ourselves already, but I would like to reintroduce ourselves. We have Michelle Opalenik, and she's from the Amador. She's a health educator for the Amador County of Public Health. And I'd also like to introduce Tivoli Walker, who also works for the Health Collaborative STAND program. And of course, myself, Jose, I work for the STAND program as well. We will start out with Michelle and then myself, followed by Tivoli. So take it away, Michelle.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Jose, and thank you so much to Columbia for the opportunity. I'm going to talk about the environmental damage of tobacco production. And I would imagine most, if not all of us, are very aware of the toll that vaping and smoking and tobacco use has on the body. However, tobacco production from cultivation to disposal has devastating impacts on our local and global environment as well. Next slide. Trees are lost at almost every stage of the tobacco life cycle. Did you know that tobacco companies, and we're talking huge transnational companies, grow the majority of their tobacco in developing nations? And when the forests in these countries are cleared, often through burning, this means loss of habitat, biodiversity, greenhouse gas emissions, as well as a loss of the very trees needed to absorb those greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide. The damage continues with the intensive use of fertilizers and pesticides. Next slide. Tobacco is grown typically as a monocrop. Monocropping is a practice of growing a crop year after year in the same plot of land. This practice depletes soil of nutrients, it reduces organic matter in the soil, and causes significant erosion. And this is one reason why tobacco plants require large inputs of chemicals to grow. And as mentioned above, over the last few decades, the large tobacco companies have slowly but surely moved their cultivation to developing nations where we probably all are aware the environmental rules and regulations are much less strict than we would have here or in Europe. And according to the World Health Organization, the chemicals like herbicides, insecticides, growth inhibitors that would be very much considered unsafe to humans and the environment here in the United States or Europe and are banned here are still in use in some of these nations. And what compounds the problem is that these workers are often applying these chemicals with handheld or backpack sprayers, often without the use of necessary personal protective equipment. So this is another human toll of tobacco production. Next slide. Tobacco farmers and producers refer to the drying of tobacco as curing. There are four main methods of curing, but curing by fire is still the predominant method in developing nations. And it's also the preferred method for pipe tobacco, chewing tobacco, and snuff. Cutting down trees for curing means more forest loss. This picture depicts a tobacco hung in a large barn With fire curing, fires of hardwoods are kept on either continuous or intermittent smolder for between 3 days and 10 weeks. And annually, 12 million tons of wood are required worldwide for curing of tobacco. Next slide. According to the World Health Organization, manufacturing of tobacco products is probably the most environmentally damaging of any of the steps of the tobacco life cycle. However, the data is quite sketchy, as it is generally self-reported by the tobacco companies, and there is no real standard of reporting protocols on resources used or the waste generated. There are many steps needed to produce a final tobacco product. Steps like shredding the tobacco, preparing and treating it with hundreds of chemicals, producing rolling paper, and then transporting the finished products to retail. Tobacco manufacturing generates liquid, solid, and airborne waste. And I found one study that estimated annually tobacco factories generate 220,000 tons of chemical waste worldwide. Toxic byproducts include ammonia, hydrochloric acid, and methyl ethyl ketone, and also nicotine waste. I have two pictures here. On the left, you'll see what looks like cigarette products really close to the end of the manufacturing cycle. On the right is an e-cigarette plant, and I'm going to talk about e-cigarettes separate in a moment. Next slide. Nearly 1 billion people around the world use cigarettes every day. And I think when most of us think of environmental damage from cigarettes, we do picture cigarette butts on the ground. And what I've shared with you so far doesn't discount the sheer magnitude of environmental damage caused by littered tobacco products. Cigarette butts are the most littered item in the world. And it estimated worldwide, 4.5 trillion cigarettes are littered on the ground each year. The toxic chemicals such as lead, arsenic, and nicotine from littered tobacco products leach into the environment, leach into our waterways, but it's also highly toxic and poisonous to pets, wildlife, and small children. Next slide. Due to the growing popularity of e-cigarettes in recent years, it's important though to touch on the emerging data regarding these products. They do have negative environmental impacts. And e-cigarettes are regulated as tobacco, as the nicotine found in these products are derived from tobacco plants typically. E-cigarette devices contain usually a cartridge which holds a liquid solution of nicotine and other chemicals, heating element with a chimney, coil, and a wick, a battery, temperature regulator, electronic sensors, and a mouthpiece. I found though that there are a great deal of research gaps in quantifying the environmental damage of e-cigarette manufacturing. We do know that making these products is very resource intensive. We know plastics are derived from fossil fuels. The lithium ion batteries and all the metal and the other metals in them are mined throughout the world. Disposal of these products is another huge challenge. I learned that most e-cigarettes that are sold worldwide are made in China. In 2015 alone, 58 million e-cigarettes and refills were sold in the United States, and a third of those were intended for single use. Spent e-cigarettes or pods contain plastics, heavy metals, electronic circuitry, and nicotine residue. These products are technically classified as hazardous waste and should be disposed as such, but there's strong evidence that most get discarded in the regular trash or on the ground. Next slide. So if you're passionate about protecting the environment, which I know so many young adults are, please don't forget that tobacco is an environmental issue. And I love this quote. It's actually a quote from an Earth Day site from 2010. And it says, the surefire way to help the environment is to quit smoking, to quit using tobacco. And if you don't use or smoke, then support those who want to quit. I just love that. So I hope I've left you again that tobacco control is an environmental issue. And I'm going to hand over the discussion to Jose, who's going to add to that and explain why tobacco is also a social justice issue. Thank you.
So definitely there's a lot of issues with big tobacco and how they work and so on. So I kind of want to talk about that part and how they've normalized this through the tobacco documents that are housed at UCSF. You know, my introduction is with Young Adults in Fighting Tobacco, that we've created an organization that can help confront these issues. So next slide. So Big tobacco, since its inception, has been comfortable with zero accountability in the staggering underlying health inequities in which it has created by normalizing and manufacturing the consent of society's most vulnerable. My hope is within these next couple of slides, I can show some of those normalizing tactics through the product placement. So I kind of want to talk about how I started in this, because I think that's very interesting things. So my interest in started when my son started pointing out tobacco butts on the ground as we walked. This is a picture of my son, and he would ask me, so why is this trash everywhere? And I started noticing, like, yes, this trash is everywhere. Why? And it was tobacco butts. It was vaping, products that were left out on the ground. As I looked for answers, I found that much of the normalizing came from the historical reference. One of the first marketing gurus in 1929, named Edward Bernays, next slide, he coined the term torches of freedom during an Easter Sunday parade in New York. This is Edward Bernays in 1917. He created the first public relations company in the US. He would then publicize the event as a women's suffrage movement event that empowered women. His idea came from the knowledge that his uncle Sigmund Freud bestowed upon him during the corresponding letters that they would write to each other. Freud pretty much told them, create or manufacture the idea that in order for women to be equal to men, they must do something that equates women to men. That was the act of smoking in public, which was taboo at the time. Bernays was successful in creating a soaring sales for the Lucky Strike brand. Now that's interesting because Bernie Sanders was a socialite as well in New York. And one of the first things he did is he threw a gala, and it was called the Green Gala. And the reason he threw that gala is because he wanted to show that Lucky Strikes, which was the color green, was marketed on the brand. He made this Green Gala really famous with, paying models and so on to attend this gala. Next slide. So here's something I found online, which is kind of cool that I found it online, because anything with Edward Bernays is very esoteric. So this one, again, it shows Freud there, his uncle. It shows his torches of freedom, coining that term. And it also shows Lucky Strike. So here, I'll read this. PR must create news in order to appeal to the instincts of the fundamental emotions of the public. So I thought I had to share this with everybody. Next slide. Next we have, and these are documents that I found in the tobacco documents that are, again, housed at UCSF. This document that I found here pretty much is an advertising standard correspondence that focuses on guidelines and testimonials actors should adhere to. This thought was insightful, clearly describing the need of genuine testimonials by actors. So they wanted to have actors show a genuine interest in their smoking, whether it be outside of their acting and in their social arenas where they're smoking out in public. So this document explains that. Next slide. And this is pretty much the conclusion of that memo. Next slide. This is one that's pretty much self-explanatory. And I found this document. It's how many people know who Sylvester Stallone is? And I'll raise my hand. Sylvester Stallone is a famous actor, pretty much from the 70s and 80s and 90s. And still to this day, actually. I'm going to read this letter. And this is the correspondence between Sylvester Stallone and somebody from the Williamson, Brown and Williamson company, which owns a lot of tobacco companies. And it says, "Dear Bob, as discussed, I guarantee that I will use Brown and Williamson tobacco products in no less than 5 future films. It is my understanding that Brown and Williamson will pay me a fee of $500,000, hoping to hear from you soon." and there's Sylvester Stallone's signature. So definitely, you know, that helped pay for a couple, actually 5 movies, and I could name them. Over the Top is one, Rambo 2 is one. So there's definitely a couple movies that we remember that you can now go back and look at the smoking in those movies. Next slide. So what we did is, you know, seeing that normalizing is the normalizing of tobacco use is being used a lot. You know, we wanted to confront that, and the way to confront it is to educate young adults in this fight to confront tobacco use. And what we've done is we've created a organization called Young Adults Fighting Tobacco, YAFT. It's focused on rural areas, and we're recruiting ages 18 to 24. So if any of y'all know anybody that that you think would be of interest, there's a lot of opportunities. The counties that we service is Nevada, Sutter, El Dorado, Alpine, Amador, Calaveras, Tuolumne, Stanislaus, Mono, and Inyo. There's a lot of opportunities that we share as well with these young adults. One of the opportunities is, for instance, this one is we give presentations to youth, and there's a lot of leadership training that goes with that. So that's what we're doing with YAFT. Next speaking is Tivoli, and she'll be discussing some opportunities as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Michelle, for talking about how the tobacco company is an environmental issue and messing up our environment, and Jose for exposing tobacco and their advertising and bringing YAF together. And so now I'm going to talk about your call to action and how you can help stop big tobacco. So STAAND is offering a paid internship, and it's for students who attend at Modesto Junior College, Columbia College, and Lake Tahoe Community College. However, we're really needing students from Columbia College, and you can earn $500 per semester or $1,000 over the course of the year for leading your campus towards a healthy change by advocating for a smoke, vape, and tobacco-free campus. You will acquire valuable skills and experience in research, community organizing, policy advocacy, communications, and you can also earn letters of recommendations and references for your resume. Or if you go on to a four-year college, and you'll work together to educate, advocate for a smoke, vape, and tobacco-free campus. And the commitment is it's about an hour meeting 2 times a month. Sometimes it's weekly, depending on what we have going on. You can, some of our interns have helped develop a survey, collect those surveys at tabling events on campus, also creating posters and helping with social media posts, and as well as presentations. And if you'd like to join, you can click on this Survey Monkey, or you can contact myself or Katie. Her number is listed on the flyer, and we can get you into being an intern. And speaking of presentations, the Modesto Junior College, 2 of the interns there, as well as the Respiratory Care Club, is putting on a webinar. It is September 29th from 12 to 1, and you can, the link below is to register, and it's Bambi versus Godzilla, countering tobacco marketing tactics. And they are raffling 2 $50 Kohl's and 2 $25 Subway gift cards. So if you're interested, we would love for you to attend to watch the webinar. And if you have any questions, or maybe you don't qualify as an intern but would like to help in fighting big tobacco, you can contact Michelle, Jose, or myself. This is our contact information, and you can maybe even join our coalition or just volunteer. So I hope you enjoyed our presentation.
We would like to open our discussion up for any questions or input about what we have discussed, please feel free to utilize the chat, or you're welcome to ask any questions.
So hi, I'm sorry I was a couple minutes late, but everything that I listened to was really quite fascinating and impressive. And I can think of some young people I know who would probably respond more to the environmental concerns than they would their own health. So that's a really interesting angle on it, and I was moved. One question I have to Voli is there one internship, one student internship, or many student internships?
There are many. So we currently have 3, 4, 5. So we need one more, I believe, at Columbia College, and I don't believe we have any yet from Lake Tahoe Community College. Do you know, Jose, if we have any from Lake Tahoe yet? You're muted.
That's okay, but one at Columbia.
Yes,
Yes.
at least one. Yes, one, maybe two, but at least one.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, it was a great presentation. I've been in tobacco cessation for a long time, and I learned a lot from the beginning of the social justice part too, so thanks. And I want to just remind you as presenters that these are recorded, and we will promote them after also for students to, faculty to show their students and for students to look, particularly our associated students. I wonder if you could tell me maybe a little more specific about what an intern would be doing. So if someone's listening, they'll know more than the one meeting a couple times a month. What actually have some of the interns done?
So we have one of the interns at Columbia College has worked with some of the faculty to develop a survey. It had to be, we haven't distributed the survey yet because of COVID-19 and shutting down the campus, but it was to collect opinions on the possibility of Columbia College becoming smoke-free. The two interns at Columbia College had started helping me develop a poster to put around campus. And the Modesto Junior College interns have helped table events, the Great Smokeout, and that's where we also did survey opinion polls there, and we gave out a turkey sandwich for going cold turkey and quick kits. So, and also I really need help with our social media, and I know young people are good at that, so I'm hoping the interns can help me with that. And then the two interns helped with this webinar, so they help organize. So they'd be helping, help organize webinars and presentations. And Jose, if you want to talk about more if interns participate in YAFT, what you all do.
Yes, so we don't have interns, but we have the young adults that are part of the coalition, and they've been doing wonderful things. Like just last week, one of the young adults from Modesto had called me really happy that, he has a job and he works at Tesla. He works at they call them campuses, and he's like, hey, I just got my campus to go smoke free. And I thought that was a huge win, because I was like, wow, you're doing great work out. It's not even part of our scope of work or anything, but it's great that you're doing that work out there. So definitely that, there's little things like that they do in the coalition. In the coalition, they're learning more about the leadership. They're creating an infrastructure for themselves. We have meetings every last Sunday, like this weekend, this Sunday, we're going to have a meeting. And within those meetings, we do trainings and leadership trainings. Right now, we're creating what's called an onboarding kit. And in that onboarding kit, we're also going to be implementing or putting into that onboarding kit, an example of a curriculum vitae, which a lot of young adults that are going through college, many don't know that when they go to grad school, they usually need a curriculum vitae or even a statement, saying that they want to go to college or grad school. So these are little steps that I think, with the onboarding kit, that they're creating now will help them long term. The young adult coalition that they created, they're looking at keeping it long-term. So it's not, even after funding is gone and so on, they want to keep this going with mentorship and so on. They're doing great things right now. And now we're working on sorry, my daughter.
So I wanted to add too that our interns, the two from Columbia College, met with the president, with Lorene and myself, and Katie, my project director, and Ben, and to discuss the possibility of the campus going smoke and tobacco free. And they were able to give their opinion and talk about what they experience on campus, which was really helpful. And so our interns are able to help us at meetings and speak up for why we should be a smoke-free campus.
Advocate that. And
advocate, yes.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Are you all linked with Mary Watts in our career department so that she could promote this for you? Because she reaches to students for jobs, offering jobs. And so, I mean, I'd like to make sure you guys are connected if you're not already so because she'd get that word out on that.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. And I know she's kind of a bit on and offline with us on this meeting today, but I'm going to remind her afterwards that this is a great opportunity. And I can think of so many, it's a wide breadth of possible majors that students, any health major, social justice major, environmental major, all of them could find some benefit for this. And to add on to the curriculum vitae, or that you were talking about, that they can say, I did this internship. Yeah, I can see a lot of benefits. So I don't think Mary's listening maybe now, but we'll make sure.
Well, I think she may be. I just see that she popped up with her contact information. So I encourage you all, both for the YAF because of the leadership opportunities, even if it's unpaid. But if you can see the chat, can you all see the chat? Yeah, there's the information. Contact Mary and she'll get the word out to the students about the paid internship and the leadership opportunities with YAF. I think that would be a great connection, and it would be a good place for that to come from on campus. I mean, we'll post this recording somewhere, but she'll get a more direct information out.
Great, thank you.
Yeah. And, I'm really looking forward to, I anticipate chances are we'll be back on campus the next fall. I think that's a reasonable thing to look for, not in spring. And let's make sure that we reconnect to get you physically here for these various opportunities and to be updated on what the current possibilities in these organizations. YAFT sounds like it's currently being funded, and I don't know how long that funding goes on. And then I don't know if the student internship will be available again next year. But
yes, we are in our second year, and it's a 5-year grant.
Oh,
but we're hoping to continue after that. California Health Collaborative has a good track record when it comes to tobacco control efforts.
Yeah, Michelle, getting the word out about the social justice, the environmental aspects of this, I think that is an amazing thing for us to find ways to emphasize.
Yeah, and I'm gonna, actually I think Tamara will talk, but I'm gonna create a short list of some of our faculty who would be particularly interested in this to share with their students, maybe in class, part of a class session. Now that we're online, that these will be online, I think they really find it valuable. And
thank you.
I have to let you all know that typically the Young Adult Coalition, YAFT, has a retreat on a yearly retreat.
I was going to ask about that.
And we have we have a partnership with the Sierra Club Motherville chapter, which also has a cabin, and we use that cabin for our retreats, which quite a bit of, the first retreat we had was amazing because it was pre-COVID and all these young adults still want to talk to each other. So they've created a text link where they text each other, and I get the text all the time. So they're always highlighting themselves on what they're doing, and they always want to talk to each other. So those are memorable experiences that they use and they utilize. That's a picture of the retreat there.
Yeah, it's a really nice place. It has a huge living room with a huge fireplace, and everybody comes together and eats in the kitchen. And helps with the dishes and sets the
Yeah.
table, and it's very like you can build like a family, you feel like a family there.
Yes, we have a chef coming out. I mean, they do everything. We don't.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if one of you could collate, or you probably already have a page that on these various pages that we've just gone through on the slideshow, that we have like this Survey Monkey link to join YAFT, and the Survey Monkey link with the internship, and the contact information for each one of you was on another page. I would love to have that all listed on one page somewhere,
Okay.
so that otherwise I'm going to have to go back through the recording and try to gather it all. So if somebody could get me those various links, and that would
Oh,
be
yes.
useful.
Definitely. I'm currently working on our website, and it'll have that information, but I can do it, get it to you as well.
And that would be great, even if
Yes.
we'll just have the website and say all this necessary information, because Laureen always does quite a effort in November, when we have the
Great
special
American Smoke Out, yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
So that's a good time to highlight some of this again. So
Yeah, good point.
Yes.
yeah.
Thank you, Tivoli.
Yeah,
Well,
I echo Tamara. So we'll look forward to when we can be back on campus and have you in
Yeah.
person.
yeah, I think the turkey sandwich day is a really great idea. So I think that'd be really well received. So, but this was wonderful. It was really informative to me. I enjoyed it. So
Yeah, very much. So we'll, Mary, if you're there, or we can stop the recording and we will post this and send it out to, I think, targeted faculty folks.